Hi everybody, what's up? It's your girl Malika, aka Mali, aka Malibu, whatever you want to call me. You know, that is me and this is Malika's Flex. Today I will be giving you tips on how to land an online teaching role with or without a degree. These tips are mostly for those who want to teach English online as a second language or even for people who want to teach other subjects. So if this is something that interests you, please stay tuned. So, guys, I have been told by some people that, they have their TEFL or they have a degree or whatever it is, they have an interest in teaching English online as a second language. However, they have been applying to some jobs, they're not getting through, and they want to know what I did to land multiple roles as an online ESL educator slash tutor slash teacher, whatever. And I really want to share with you my experience. This is my experience, what I have observed, gone through, whatever, and help you to also be successful. All right. So, as usual, I have my notebook with me. So, of course, if you see me looking down from time to time, please bear with me. I don't want to forget anything. And yeah. All right, so the first thing that you want to do, so I have 10 tips lined out here for you. The first thing that you want to do is to get TEFL certified. I recently did a video on the TEFL, what it is, where you can get it. If you have not yet watched that video, please go to my channel. I'll also have the link to that video in my description box below. But go to my channel, check out that video on what the TEFL is and how to get it. All right. Who can get it? I answered many questions in that video. All right. But basically the TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and this is a certificate that can be obtained in about a week or two. Can be 2 months depending on the time that you have on your hands. All right. So that's first things first. Most of these companies, they're not even asking for a degree that takes 4 years to obtain. They're asking for a TEFL certificate, all right? Because this is showing that you do know English, and whether you are a native speaker of English or not, once you have a full grasp of the English language, getting a TEFL certificate is the first way to prove that you know English and you can teach it as well. All right. So get you your TEFL certificate. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. Ensure that you have your resume updated, and you're going to fill in your resume only with relevant experience. If you are looking to land an online teaching role, teaching English or math or science, whatever it is that you want to teach, the experience that you have listed on your resume has to align somewhat with what you're seeking to do, because the employers want to know that even if you have never taught before, you have some experience with speaking English or doing math or whatever it is, right? So let's say you were a customer care representative, and that's an excellent job if you want to branch out into teaching English online, because you were speaking English or you have been speaking English online with customers, and you want to detail exactly the roles that you played in this job that would benefit this new company, to hire you as an English teacher. All right. Also, I want to say that whatever you put on your resume, nobody's fact checking, and I'm not telling anybody to lie. I'm just saying nobody's fact checking anything. But just update your resumes. All right. Tip number 3 is ensure that you have a laptop. All right. There are some online teaching companies that do allow you to use your phones because they're more phone based or whatever. There aren't many, and most of the phone based ones don't even pay well. I mean, many of the ones that require a laptop don't pay well anyway, and the ones with phones, they're even worse. Okay, so get a laptop. Ensure that your laptop has at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. Ensure that your laptop, has, a decent webcam, because of course you will be teaching, through video conferencing and whatnot. Ensure that it has, decent system requirements that you think would be good for teaching online. Something that will not be glitching or freezing up or whatever the case may be. Get a decent laptop. I've had the question before, can I get a Chromebook? I think most of these companies, they want you to have Chrome, as in Google Chrome. So what do you call it? A search? No, that's not a search engine. What do we call it, guys? What's the correct technological term? But get Chrome, Google Chrome. If you have a Chromebook and you have that and you have a webcam, good, microphone, then you're good. Most companies ask you to have one of these, the headphone with the microphone set. I find that when I do interviews, even because I've done interviews without it, perhaps because I just can't find it or I left it somewhere, whatever the case may be. Once they can hear me, I'm usually good to go. But they're looking for this, especially if you're interviewed. Some of them will not do like a live interview, but they'll have like questions for you to answer and record yourself, and that's their version of an interview. But ensure that you have this. And that leaves me with tip number 5, where you should have an area with good lighting. My lighting looks much better when I'm on my computer, actually. An area like this is okay, but they do prefer like a plain wall. But this is where I teach most of the times. They want it to be plain because they don't want it. They don't want distractions for the students, especially children. So yeah, have good lighting, have a good setup area. And with that, let me couple that in your video or your interview. Not only are they looking for a good lighting, a good setup, they're looking at how you will be dressed. So most times this is what I wear. I wear a polo shirt or a regular shirt. Most of them will tell you no t-shirts, but if we're honest, most times when you're on the computer, you can't really tell fully if it's a t-shirt based on the type of the shirt. You can't tell how thick the material is and whatnot. But you're always safe for the most part with a polo shirt. Good. And of course, usually they want it to be plain. They just don't want distractions for the students. All right. Number 6, have a folder on your computer or on your thumb drive or on your drive, your web drive or whatever, your internet drive. Have a folder with the following things. Let me hold up my book because I'm about to read. I've written down here 2 to 3 profile pictures. Most of these companies will be asking you to upload a picture of yourself. Usually a picture in the area that you'll be teaching. Nice smile, looking pleasant for your students to want to learn with you. Ensure that you have, and I say 2 to 3 profile pictures because based on the company, based on the requirement, you may just want to choose from, 2 to 3. All right. Also have 2 to 3 introduction videos. Most of my videos that I do on teaching online, I've always mentioned that a lot of these companies will be asking you to upload an introduction video where you'll be giving information about yourself, your name, maybe your age, where you're from, where you're living, your teaching experiences, what you bring to the table, what you'll be focusing on in class, whatnot. Have 2 to 3 of those because you may need one where you're just speaking to the company in order to be hired. Hire me because blah, 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 blah. And then you'll need another one where you're speaking directly to the students. Hi, I'm your future teacher. In my classes, blah, 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 blah. So, and just have your videos ready. For some companies, they're very specific about what they want you to say in the video, and you'll find yourself, even though you have a few videos on hand already, you may need to redo a video because you want to put in the specific information that a company has listed for you to, put in there. But most times you can use the videos that you already have on hand. It's just one-off situations where you'll probably need to recreate. I hate creating videos, which is why I just try to have a few of them on hand to pick, choose, and refuse from. All right. Also in that folder, ensure that you have all your teaching qualifications. So if you have a degree, ensure that you have that degree in the folder, whether it's a bachelor's degree, master's degree, both. Your TEFL, of course, because these companies are asking for a TEFL. There are very few companies that don't ask for TEFL, all right? So ensure you have all your qualifications and certificates in that folder as well. Have in that folder a passport or a national ID, because when you're signing up, most times they ask for ID, okay? I guess to see that you're really an adult and whatever. I spoke about updating your resume, but ensure that your resume is also in that folder, and a cover/application letter. Some companies will not ask for a cover letter. Sometimes they'll ask you to write a paragraph about your teaching experiences or why you'd be a good candidate for the role. Which in most cases you can, if you already have a cover letter in your folder, you can, copy, some parts of it and put into that box with whatever they're asking and tweak it to your liking, rather than having to think on spot of what you want to say or whatever. So you have this folder. So that's my tip number 6 for you. In tip number 7, please, many people who have expressed that they're not able to find a job, I guarantee you that you're perhaps looking for a job that's US based. If you are not a US citizen or a US green card holder or somebody who has a general work permit for the US, I would say please shy away from applying to US based ESL companies, all right? Reason being, all legitimate US companies will require you to have a work permit. They'll be sending you a W-9 so even though they're not reporting your taxes for you, they'll still be asking for tax information to report to the IRS. So when it's time to file, the IRS can have that information that you were working independently with this particular company. All right. You'll need to have social security and whatnot. And even if in the initial stage of the application, it seems as if you're good to go, by the time they give you a contract and everything, you'll find that you need to provide certain information to the company. And so if the company realizes that you're not in the US, they more than likely will not be looking at your application. All right. Shy away from applying to US based companies. The US is not the only country that offers ESL services. Good. So with that being said, you're perhaps wondering now, where can I apply if not to the US based companies? I've told people on my TikTok, Google. Just type into Google European based companies for teaching English online. Do the same for Asia or Latin America. So I say target Europe, Latin America, and Asian based companies. All right. Those ones most times will be accepting. All right. With that being said, let me see if I'm missing out something. So that was tip number 7 out of 10. Tip number 8, which is aligning with tip number 7. So you're looking for companies in Asia, Europe, and Latin America. Please apply to as many platforms as possible. You can't be looking for an online role. Remember, if these people are hiring people without a degree, most of these companies, then you know that the competition is high, especially for the ones that do not require a degree. All right. So You can't put all your eggs in 1 or 2 or 3 baskets. Guys, when I am applying to online teaching companies, most times I sit here, I like to apply at night for some reason, and I have like a couple tabs, 15 tabs open at the same time, just applying. Most of the applications aren't long. Some of them can be annoying, especially if they're asking for a video which you don't have in your folder, something that you have to recreate. That part can be annoying. But I always have my tabs open and I just get in application mode and I'm just applying. Because if you apply to 15 companies, chances are that 2 or 3 will reach out to you. Well, most of them will reach out to you sometimes for an interview. Guys, I'm thinking about an interview that I did 2 months ago with a company called LearnLight. LearnLight is hiring, by the way, guys. LearnLight. And I got to the interview stage and I could see that they were ready to take me on. And guys, once I do an interview, trust I'm getting the job. My issue was, for some reason, my internet was not cooperating with me that day. And so for the entire interview, the lady kept saying, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You're freezing. Could you say that again?" And I'm like, ah. Woo. Anyway, so yeah, things do happen. So ensure that you apply to as many companies as possible. All right. And also, please don't shy away from applying because the company says we prefer American accents, or we prefer European England accents from England, accents from New Zealand or Australia. Most of these companies, they put that, but they're willing to accept you with a neutral accent. I consider myself to have a neutral accent, meaning even though I don't have an American accent, my accent is actually Jamaican. But you can understand me, right? I did this whole video in English and you understood every single word that I said, right? So once that you get to the interview stage or you upload your video, that's also something that they're looking for, that you have a neutral accent. So as a matter of fact, for all the companies that I've gotten through with, the ones that I've been successful with or for, they all had on their, or have still on their websites, preferably teachers from America, the United States, New Zealand, England, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm still applying. I don't care. I'm not going to let that deter me from applying. Now, some companies, if they truly only want people from these specific countries, in the part of the application that asks, where are you from? In the drop-down menu, they will only have those specific countries as options. The other platforms that will actually be flexible with who they take, they will have your country listed on there, okay? All right, so tip number, I guess that was tip number 9, not ignoring, ignoring when they say they only want a specific accent. So that was tip number 9. Tip number 10 is subscribe to this channel, because I do videos on online teaching, international teaching, which is like physically being in a different country. And I give a lot of advice. I talk about companies that are currently hiring, just as I just said to you guys in this video that LearnLight is currently hiring. There's also this other one that I'm checking out right now, and I'm waiting to complete the interview for that before I speak about it. And also, I like to actually work with the companies for at least a month before I come here and tell you guys to apply, because I like to see how the company truly works, so I can give you all the details. But if you subscribe to this channel, you will be getting that information. I'll go through the application forms with you guys, some of them, and most of them are pretty easy to complete anyway. So subscribe to this channel for that reason. I will be giving updates on brand new platforms that have been existing for a while, how much they pay. Oh, and if you're wondering how much most of these companies pay, on average, I'd say most of these companies pay $10 per hour. So I'll tell people these jobs aren't necessarily for full-time purposes. Unless you're not working at all, it can still suffice, but it's more so as part-time, just getting extra money to do whatever it is that you need extra money for, which is why I say for the ones that are phone-based rather than computer-based, those ones tend to pay like $5, $3 per hour, which sucks. So that's why I say shy away from the ones that ask just for cell phones as the requirements. But anyway, guys, if this video was any at all helpful to you, please hit the like button. Please share with a friend. Don't be mean. Share this information with a friend. And once again, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. This is your girl, Malika, aka Mali, aka Malibu. Whatever you want to call me, it's me saying bye.